It was a tough weekend for some of our strategies, and after losses like that, I know some people are thinking of giving up. And in this video, I want to show how I review and sometimes update my strategies when doubt creeps into my mind. The first thing to do is, of course, review your plan, because at the beginning of this betting cycle, I'm sure you had a plan, you made your plan, so read that plan again. For example, what was your profit target? What risk did you know you had? And what were your exit points? In my case, my target is to make 5 times on my bank. So my bot set is set up with Whittaker ELS4 staking, and I know that has inside it a 17% chance of bankruptcy in it, and that's the risk I'm taking. So it could be times 5 on my bank or minus 100% on my bank. And what's the exit? What were your exit points? My exit point is either bankruptcy, when that initial bank is gone, or when one of the strategies reaches 1,000 bets, and then I'll review if it's getting yields similar to what its long-term trend was. So I've got my profit target, my accepted risk, and my exit points. And then after a bad weekend, you should look, have you actually reached an exit point? I know some people did, and if you did go bankrupt, then I would say don't just refill your bank and start again. And unless you know exactly why your system reached its exit point and it's not broken, it's just part of your plan. If you don't know what went wrong, then don't just restart. Review your plan and your strategies and decide how you want to move forward. So you've got to check, why did it fail? For example, was it the strategy's losing value? How do you know that? Well, you can check your last 1,000 bets and see, was their win rate lower than the long-term win rate? Was it similar to the long-term win rate? For example, if it's the same as the long-term win rate, but it made a loss, then definitely it's lost its value. It's not working anymore. But if the long-term win rate was 36%, and in the last 2 months it's been 29%, that's of course a very big negative swing. But that doesn't mean the system's broken, the strategy is broken. It just means that it had an exceptionally bad couple of months. Also check if it's software issues. Did something go wrong with your bot setup? Were there any errors on your VPS? Was it bank management? For example, some people were surprised when it went to 0. The Whittaker staking I have set up has many different settings. You can choose the ELS multiple. That ELS is the estimated losing sequence, and I've put it on 4. That means it can survive 4 losing runs in a row, 4 expected losing runs. And though that expected losing run is based on the odds implied win rate, and from doing back testing on bettermenting strategies, 83% of strategies could survive on a bank that's built to survive 4 losing runs in a row. But that's still 17% of strategies didn't survive. So that's why I give it a 17% chance of bankruptcy. And also we have a very large volume of bets. So we've probably had 1,000, 2,000 bets in the last 2 months maybe. And that's a lot more than most people do in a year with manual betting. So we will reach the end of our betting cycles much faster than other people. So if someone makes 2,000 bets over a year and it makes a loss, the system still reached its end. It just took a longer time to reach that end point. In our case, we can reach it in 2 months. So we can reach our targets in 2 months or reach our exit points in 2 months. And if you don't like that 17% chance of bankruptcy, I've tried to clarify it a little bit more on my website and say that with an ELS4 setting, then there's a 17% chance of bankruptcy over the next 1,000 bets. But if you change that to an ELS10 so that it can survive 10 losing runs in a row, then there's just a 1% chance of bankruptcy over the next 10,000 bets if you change to that setting. Of course, when you change to that setting, the stake size you're using is going to drop a lot. So you won't be aiming towards 22 points a month. You'll be aiming more like 9 points a month. And that's if it reproduces its long-term trend exactly. And what we do know from these back-tested strategies is quite often we don't get exactly the same trend. We tend to get shadows of those trends where we only get half as much profit, sometimes even just a quarter of that profit. So if you go for a safer staking setting, it means smaller stakes and it will take longer to reach your profit targets, but it reduces the chance of bankruptcy. over the next 10,000 bets. And also this chance of bankruptcy is not talking about betting on any system that wins or loses. It's talking about if the system is run for 10,000 bets and at the end of it it's in profit, would the bank have withstood the expected variance? So high win rate systems have very low variance, so we can bet more money on them, we can use more of our bank, and that's much more efficient with our betting capital. And lower win rates have higher volatility, and so we should bet less on each bet, but still those strategies can have long winning and losing runs. And the more bets we place, the more chance we have of hitting those losing runs. So if we know we're going to be betting 10,000 times, making 10,000 bets, then, and you want to reduce the chance of bankruptcy, then going for more conservative settings like an ELSL 10 could work. And then another thing you can check, was it just higher than statistically expected negative variance? And that means looking at every single strategy that you have in your set. I'm following 34 different strategies from Betterminic. So I'd have to go to each strategy and I look at the all results long-term trend. We're seeing a 6.7% yield with a 37% win rate. We can look at the since shared results, and you can see just from that since shared, this was shared in 2023, so it's been running about in September 2023, so it's been running about a year and a half, and it's had a higher than its trend level. So its long-term trend was 37% win rate, and we've been a bit luckier. We've had a 39% win rate, and that's led to a higher yield. That all makes sense. But we had a massive bad run just recently. If I look at the month as yet, we can see, yes, it's had two losing months in a row, just minus 5 points together those 2 months. So yeah, it's had a losing run. I don't see anything especially surprising here. One thing, this one is based on all leagues, so it's betting on all the available 111 leagues. But looking here, I don't see anything obviously bad. It doesn't look like it stopped working to me. And then I check the next one in the list, A8. We see here this long-term trend has a 29% win rate and an 8.6% yield. If I look at the since shared, it's been slightly luckier. It's got a 31% win rate and that's given it an 11% yield. That makes sense. And last month this made a profit. I don't see anything strange here. I'm happy to keep following the strategy. And you do this, you go through, if you're panicking, if you're not sure what's going on and you're thinking this system doesn't work, then have a look at the strategies you've chosen to follow. Is anything strange with them? 30% win rate with 9% yield. Since shared 34% win rate, 20% yield, and on the monthly it's had 2 good months. This A9, it's been doing nicely. And you can check your bots and see if you've had similar results. I can see my A8, my A9, they've had positive results. Even my Colossus 01 is still in profit in my tracker set. So if you do have your tracker sets going, then you can have a look at the ones that are doing the worst and take more of a focus on them. Of course, you're not really worried about the ones that are in profit. So let's have a look at this M2B+. This is one I don't know very well. I added it in because it had good statistics. It's had 64 bets and it's made quite a loss. So this is Whitaker not linked to cumulative. So it's like like smart level stakes, but with a £100 bank. So that's minus 26%, minus 27% there. So actually, these are the ones I should be having a looking at. So where is it? Where's that B1? So let's have a look at M2B+. I'll find that on my list, M2B+. Have a look at it. So long-term trend is 53% with 4.5% yield. Since it was shared in 2020, 52%, is that the same? 52? So it was 1% less. So since it was shared, 1% less. And the yield's gone from 4.5 to 3.45. That makes sense. Had a bit of a bad run and then it started doing well and it's gone down recently. Monthly, a couple of bad months. And what is this? This is betting on the home win, on home favourites, not strong favourites, like weak home favourites when they've just had 2 draws or more. They've just had a bit of a drawing streak. So they haven't lost, they've been drawing, so we think maybe they have a fair chance to win their next game if they're slight favourites. There's good logic in there, I like that. So often the market, they like to jump on teams that have won their last few home games. They look like they're going to win the next one. the public market really loves to follow trends, and it's not completely against the trend. It's not following a team that's lost a load at home. It's a team that have drawn quite a few of their last few home matches, haven't lost, and then we're backing them. So there's good logic behind that. I can see why this one kind of works. So if I'm still worried about it, then what, 3 losing months? Is that the end of the world? Where was its peak? So it had a peak of 56.7 units, and it was lost 20 units there. That's where these losses are coming from, isn't it? Let's have a look at the leagues. Sometimes with strategies made by other people, I'm not really sure how they've chosen their leagues. If I look at all the results and run it by yield, well, it seems quite a few teams missing out there. The leagues almost look random when you do it by yield there. How have these been chosen? And doing by profit, let's do it by profit and loss. And I look here and I think, well, I'm not really sure why he's chosen these leagues. Well, it was made back in 2020. So what we can do, try and understand how these leagues were chosen, is I'm going to duplicate this and just look at the dates up to December 11th. So duplicate it. Let's just M2B plus. I'm just going to do V2. Okay, so I clone that. I've duplicated it. And so this has been recreated in my My Strategies area. I haven't saved it yet, but once I save it, it'll be in my My Strategies area. And so I'll go to the time period and go to custom date range. And so we want to end this, where was it? 2020. It was December, wasn't it? December, or anybody remember? It was about December 11th or something, wasn't it? Start range, the beginning of time. I believe this Betterminic statistics go back to 2002, so let's just put January 1st there. So when this was made, this is what the guy was looking at. This is the data he was looking at when he first made this. And it was about 5% back then, so it hasn't really changed that much from then. Very nice, minus 23 drawdown. It looked quite smooth to him. Let's have a look at these leagues. How did he pick these leagues? I rank it by yield. He hasn't picked it by yield, has he? Because he skipped a load out. There's a few down there. Whoa, do it by profit and loss? Doesn't make sense either. I don't know. Let's look at what's he betting on? Spain 2, Portugal 2, Hungary 1, Poland 1, Japan 1, Ireland. Is it all the top leagues he's choosing? At Italy, is he just choosing major leagues and dropping minor leagues? I don't know. See if is it just the major leagues or just top leagues? Maybe League 2 in England. Russian Premier League, English National League. Doesn't look like he's just doing the big leagues. It's a lot of famous names, though, isn't it? You could say it's kind of the major ones, maybe leagues you could say you could depend on, maybe. He's left out, but he's left out the Scottish Premiership. He's left out Denmark First Division. Yeah. I'm not quite sure how he's chosen these leagues. My guess is maybe he's chosen fairly major leagues in his mind, however he chose it. I can see there's very few bets in each league, so I think it's really hard to pick these leagues. I don't know how you haven't really got enough data to say they work or not. So I'm not sure how he's picked that. What would happen if we include all leagues? If we included all leagues, what do we get? You got minus 1% and just 20 picks a month. That's if you do all leagues. And then if we just take away this date, what if we've done all leagues forever? So in this case, when I think the logic behind this makes sense, and the original did have good results, which is why I followed it. It had 1,000 bets in its since shared area with 3% yield, and it had a good recent run. It looked like a trend that was working, which is why I followed it, and I like the logic behind it. But a little bit, I don't know why some of these leagues are included and why some aren't, which would make me want to consider updating or changing the leagues in this. But as I said, it looks like he's chosen major leagues that he believes in, and he's left out smaller secondary leagues that he's not too sure about. So in this case, when you're thinking about should you update the leagues or not, I'll come to that later on in my video. But in this way, you can review the strategies you're following and decide if you're still happy with them or not. You can duplicate them, look at their dates, and see if they still make sense to you. And just look, is it just unlucky to just have a lot of strategies having higher than statistically expected negative variance? Because we have a bank management system to try and use our betting capital efficiently, but If we prepare for the worst storm possible ever, then you're going to bet so small stakes every time that it becomes hard to cover the costs of your system, or just the profit becomes meaningless. So you have to strike a balance between risk and the possible profits you might make. And then also, if you haven't reached your exit point, don't panic after every losing run. Just follow your plan to its exit points. But if it's making you too stressed, then you need to make a new plan that will fit your betting style a little bit better. But if you're close to an exit point, if it looked like you were heading towards oblivion, then keep your system going, but start your review as if it's failed. So already then I'd started reviewing the strategies. I showed you how I did it. So you can check your bet numbers, have a look at how many bets have actually elapsed of your strategy. So I can see for different strategies, like, barely any of them have gone over 100 bets. 17 bets, 39. So this one, it's on minus 27 after just 46 bets. It's just had a horrid time, hasn't it? It's had a very low win rate, lower than average, and that's why it's losing. Does that mean it's broken or not? I think it's just a bad run. And in theory, the Whittaker staking is meant to make it through these periods. It's supposed to not go bust, not go bankrupt during this time. It can last 4 losing runs in a row, and that gives it a 83% of chance of surviving. And if you change the settings to more conservative settings, ELS 10, then it has an even better chance of getting through 10 losing runs. But I can see here that I haven't got any strategies with a lot of bet data enough to make me want to give up on it. But I'm still going to review these strategies one by one. With the lay strategy, just 259 bets since March 10th. So that's quite a few, but it's about level really. On a 2,000 bank, minus £28 is pretty much level. I'm not thinking about changing that one. For my BSG draw system, I know my computer froze up a bit at the weekend, and I think I missed out on a few of the bets that losing bets that other people had. But my long-term tracker bots are suggesting even after 1,000 bets, it's still showing profit. These other two here, I've stopped recommending to people. And precisely because this BSG2 trend, after 1,000 bets, it is in the negative, and that's a reason why I would say, maybe this trend is not working anymore. Something's affected it, either too many people betting on it, maybe it was a very small edge, or maybe it's gone. Maybe that trend is gone now. Even though the super long-term trend, the long-term tracker for that BSG2 trend, after 4,600 bets, is still in profit on level stakes. But it's all well and good after 4,600 bets being in profit since 2024. But in the last 1,000 bets, it was not in profit. And that's an example of how something that has worked long-term, but in the last 1,000 bets didn't make profit. That's an example of how I would remove that from a system. So this one is just being tracked by me here, but it's not part of my actual main £2,000 bank. It can be worrying to see the minus numbers after 340 bets, but the long-term tracker, again, this is still in profit after 1,000 bets, and that's on a 100 bank. That's plus 11 points on a 100 bank since January this year. When things go wrong, that's where these tracker bots become really useful and really important. Your level stakes tracker bots and your £100 Whittaker staking bank tracker bots. Then you can see is it working or not. I sometimes change my main banks, give them different settings, but I try to leave these tracker bots as long as I can without changing them. This group 2 bots have been running the longest here, and of course the absolute longest running BSG bots are the initial test bots themselves, which are still in profit. This core trend is still in profit after 15,000 bets since 2022, 15,000 real bets. And same with the 0-0 one, after 5,000 bets, it's still in profit. And the halftime bot is still in profit from 3,000 bets, but recently it's not been performing so well. Got some interesting new suggestions from a user saying try betting when it's 2-0. Back the draw in play if it goes 2-0. Not many results yet on these, but that's an interesting one. But this is just another example how it's important to have low stakes tracker bots that are always going, that even when you stop the bigger banks, that you keep these lower bots going so that you can have data that you can look at and say, is this trend real? Is it still going? And you've got long-term bots, long-term tracker bots, and then you've got shorter-term tracker bots, medium-term tracker bots, and then your actual banks to help you make decisions of what to cut out, like the BSG2, and what to keep in, like the BSG1. But in this video, I'm mainly looking at the Betterminic back bots because there's so many of them. So another thing you can do is check the odds, compare the Betterminic prices to yours. Are you getting the same or equal or higher prices? So for that, you can look at the last picks, you can see what the closing odds were, and you can compare them to your own bots. And I send my bets to a Tipping Sports account, BM Backs 2025. This is so that I can have a consistent price that I can check back to. So for that last Patronato versus All Boys, closing odds were 2.10 here. And does that appear somewhere in here? There we are, Patronato All Boys 2.2. So the Betfair exchange closing price was 2.2, making 1.2 profit there. And before that, Coruña Cadiz was 2.31. Coruña Cadiz, Deportivo Cadiz 2.32, 2.31. So about the same there. It's interesting there that Pinnacle odds and Betfair exchange odds are quite similar there, because we know we've got our commission taken off from Betfair exchange. But you should note that all these results are actually with 4% taken out of them. One thing I'm not completely sure is this already with 4% taken off it? Or is it just this bit is with 4% taken off it? I think it's just this bit with 4% taken off it. But yes, another thing you can do is check, are your bets equal or higher prices to the Betterminic strategies, which is what you're trying to copy. And you can also check your recent results, like look at each of the strategies in Betterminic and see if there's any been big changes. And I did that just before. Yeah, I duplicated and compared the time periods. One thing it's saying here, like one thing you can do is you can duplicate and compare the last year to all previous results to see has the strategy lost its edge. So if I look at one of the worst offenders here, what we've got here is ZA101. So have a look if something's gone wrong with this, ZA101. Where's that? ZA101. Here it is. Let's go to this one. So I go to this strategy. We know it's had a bit of a losing run. So its long-term win rate is 33% with an 8% yield. Let's duplicate that. Once I duplicate it, I go to the time period and I'm going to make it easy on myself. I'm going to go seasons, and I'm just going to do the last 2 seasons there and see what the last 2 seasons were in comparison to its long-term trend. So just to look again, our long-term trend is a 33% win rate with an 8% yield. Okay, and let's just look at the last 2 seasons. So this is the one complete season and then the current season. Let's have a look. Just the most recent period, last season plus this season, which we're in the middle of. And we can see it's a 31% win rate and a 3% yield. I've forgotten the data, so if I open it again, I can open the core strategy, the original strategy again. What was it? 33% win rate and 8% yield. And in the last couple of seasons, 31% win rate and a 3% yield. So drop of 2% and a 5% drop in yield. That might be something you might worry about, and So that might be an example of a drop in form that might be a bit worrying. Like for just a 2% drop in the win rate, I would be expecting maybe 5% yield. It looks like a bit of a bit drop there. So, but then look at the logic. How does the logic look to you? Betting on draws with, I would say, low odds. I mean, 3.50 and under is most draws. Like when you get higher than that, it's when you've got like a favourite on one side. So on this side, there's not particularly a strong favourite on either side. The home team, 20 to 23. The global average is 25% for draws. So a home team that draws less than the global average, an away team that is, well, that's almost meaningless, this, isn't it? If the global average is 25%, then it's just a pretty standard away team in my mind. So I'm looking at this thinking, oh, yeah, I think I might drop this one. So this would be an example of one that I'm reviewing, and I think I might just drop this one. The statistics don't look particularly strong to me. On the BFBot Manager, it's got a pretty cool thing called View Statistics, and like you can select like all countries, match odds, and the run-up high position 3 is the draw, And yeah, so 26% of events, 26% of the last 5,300 matches were draws. So that's like, you could almost call that a global average there. If we just look at the UK, it says 33%. But once you start going down, this is just 600 based on the last 640 matches, 33%. So, you know, there are what's this, France? But there were only 87 markets logged on my computer for that, so it becomes meaningless. So it's best to look at as much data as you can. So I'd say 26%, 25% is the global average for draws. So yeah, I'm looking at this one again. I'm not excited by it, so I think I might drop this one from the set. And that's an example of how checking recent results, maybe have a look at it again, see if you want to keep it or drop it from your set. And then if you do have a strategy that you think the leagues are not up to date, or you think you could do better with a different league selection, a big question mark that I haven't got the definitive answer to yet is, how do you select your leagues, and should we be updating them? I know a guy who updates his strategies every month. I can't keep up with that. I can't do that every month. I could do it every few months, and I can do it at the end of a betting cycle when it looks like a system didn't work or something. But I can't do it every month. But when we do update our leagues, how do we do it? So far, there's 8 different methods I've come up with. There's 8 different ones to choose from. One is all leagues, another positive inclusion, negative exclusion, just choosing by yields, keeping the original leagues of that strategy, and adding strategies by maximum drawdown. Let me explain what these are a bit more. So just choosing all leagues. In my mind, I think this one should be the best one, because that means if a strategy's filters work on every league in the world and it makes profit, then that's surely a sign of a global trend in football, and you're not cherry picking winning leagues there. So I always used to think that strategies that follow all leagues surely are the strongest. But interestingly, some of the top performing ones I have, like the Colossus 01 home dog, it has very few bets and it's based on very few leagues and a very, very small amount of data, and only has 2 picks per month, but it's consistently had very high yields and kept those yields even since it was shared. So we can't ignore strategies just because they only pick a few leagues. But logically, to me, if it works on all leagues, surely that's much better than a strategy that's just picked a few leagues. But of course, leagues have different characteristics. You know, the Scottish Premier League and the Spanish top league, they're different, aren't they? And like the French National League and German Bundesliga, there's different levels, different styles of play. You know, top leagues tend to play maybe a bit more possession, more passing. Lower leagues have a bit more long ball, hit and hope, direct football. Some leagues play slower. There was a time back in the 90s when we thought Italy was famous for draws and low scoring, and Serie B was just full of 1-1s and 0-0s, and other leagues like the Singapore S League that was my dream league for lay the draw, because they never ended 0-0. They were so high scoring, or there was almost guaranteed to be a goal somewhere in those games. So leagues do have characteristics that last for years and years and years. So there is something in filtering leagues. So how do we filter leagues? 2 major ways I came up with negative exclusion and positive inclusion. With negative exclusion, we start with all leagues and we just remove leagues that we can obviously see are not working for that trend. For example, their yields are under 5%, and they have more than 100 bets in their data set to confirm that. We can't just cut out a league that's had just 4 bets, because that doesn't tell us that the league doesn't work. There's not enough data to prove it. But if there's 100 or more bets, then maybe that's enough to cut it out. But it varies from strategy to strategy. This is A9. There's like a lot of data to look at. Different strategies have different bet numbers for us to use. Wow, none of them are over 100 bets there. So how do we filter from that? So in some strategies have so little data, it's hard to really make a decision to filter them or not. This one has no league filters. This works on all leagues. So actually that's a really good thing. So I do like this A9 if it's working on all leagues. Let's find another one that needs someone with loads of bets. Like this one, have it. Yeah. So like with this strategy, we can see there are some leagues that have gone over 100 bets and some leagues just with very few bets, like 40 bets, 30 bets, 25. And I would argue that with negative exclusion, if we order it by yield here, with negative exclusion, even though this league is making a loss, it's only got 32 bets in it. So I don't think that's enough data to really say this doesn't work. But this Belgium Challenger Pro League has over 100 bets and it's got bad results. And I would say this is enough to exclude it. And you can either just pick a number like 100 and say, I need 100 bets, or you can look at the overall numbers in the strategy you're looking at and say, okay, I'm going to say 80 bets, or I'm going to say 200 bets is going to be my cutoff point. So for this one, I think 100 bets seems like a fair point to cut off from. So with negative exclusion, we would only cut out the losing leagues with 100 bets or more that have yields less than 5%. So I would cut out Peru and France because their yields are under 5% and they've got more than 100 bets. But I would keep Israel because it's only got 63 bets. It's not enough for me to cut it out yet. So negative exclusion would probably end up having more leagues in it. Positive inclusion is where you start with 0 leagues, no leagues, and you only add in leagues that do have yields over 5% and more than 100 bets. So in this previous strategy here, we would include Poland, but we wouldn't include Austria because it's not got more than 100 bets. So we'd only include Poland, England Premier League, Belgium, like that. So just leagues with enough data to back up this statistic here. That's what positive inclusion is. So positive inclusion will end up with fewer leagues, but leagues that have enough bets in them. By yield, 1%, 5%, 10%, that's a really simple way to do things, and that's how I did things right at the beginning. And that's just where you pick a point like, okay, I'm going to include all leagues above 1% in yields. I'm going to include all leagues with 10% or higher yields. That's another simple way to do it. And of course, you could just keep the original leagues. Like, we don't know why the original person who made this strategy did it. We don't know why he included them. He may have some reason, so maybe we should just believe in him and just trust it and just leave them as they are. There's one other method this is a recent one that was suggested to me, and that's adding leagues by their maximum drawdown effect. And so you could start by just adding the top leagues by profit up to a maximum drawdown of -10. And then once you reach that level, the next league you add in, you only keep it added in if it doesn't increase the maximum drawdown. In this way, you can add leagues with low volatility, but don't add leagues with high volatility that will just increase the risk of that strategy. Let's have a look at that in detail. So for example, if I did that with this one, let's duplicate that. After you duplicate it, I'm going to get rid of the league selection. And then we can see here, I think this is based on the contend UD filters because I recognize them. And it's great to see that following all leagues still makes a decent profit. It has quite a high drawdown, but it has a yield of 3.5%. So what we'd do is I would order them not by yield, but I'd order them by profit. Is that what this is now? It's ordered by profit. The reason for that is if something's got high profit, that could be from a few bets with a high yield or many bets with a low yield. So it's a good average figure to use with the profit. So I'm going to pick like the top 4, 5, just include these. I'm going to save these leagues. This is me doing the maximum drawdown effect filtering of leagues method. So initially already we've got -12 there. So let's remove one there. Can we get it? Oh no. Remove that one. That's on 11. Agrees, remove that one. 10. Okay, we're about 10 now. Okay. So the next league, profitable league, going to add it in, and it makes it higher. So I'm not going to add that in. Okay, let's try Russia instead. Oh, that makes it higher, so we're not going to include that one. How about Austria? 13, that's no good. How about Germany? 12, no, that's no good. How about Japan? 16, that's no good. How about England? 12, that's no good. How about Scotland? 11.98. How about Japan? No good. So at this point, I might be thinking maybe I'm being a bit too strict. But in one sense, yeah, okay, we've got 3 leagues. Not many, that's not much data then. This is, what is this? It's got a 45% win rate. I would hope to get a lower drawdown there. Is nothing going to help me out there? But Italy. No. Thailand. 11.38. Northern Ireland. Not happy at all. Israel. Okay, well, let's say I'm going to allow myself to go up to 15 now because just 3 leagues is no good. So let's go back. Let's add Greece. Okay, 13, that's okay. I'm moving my limit up to 15 now. Okay, that's okay. Austria, Germany, yes, they're probably okay. No, we're over. Okay, take away Germany. Yeah, we're okay now. How about Japan? Can we add you in? No, you're awful. Okay, England, League One. It's near about 15. Okay, I'll let you in. Scotland. No, made it worse. Japan. I think this one was no good. No, it's okay. You've helped us out. England. No, where are we? Back over here. Italy. No, it's too much. Thailand. That's okay. That's helping us. Northern Ireland. No, it's making it worse. If we remove Israel, no, it's got worse there, so let's put Israel back in. Israel's helping us. England Championship 20. It's no good. Portugal 2. Oh, that's okay. Wow, that's really brought us down. That's an example. Adding something seems to have improved it there. Okay. Hungary. Oh, that hasn't changed anything. So in this way, we're seeing, can we add leagues without changing this maximum drawdown? How about Costa Rica? It's a lot more time consuming, isn't it? And I'm not sure if I can do this for everything, but there's another guy who swears by this. Oh, we're back to 15. That really helped out. England League 2. We're on 23% yields at 18. No, that was no good. Okay. Chile. How's Chile going? 19. That's no good. Saudi Arabia. Oh, 13. Look how that really helped us out. Mystery. Okay, Turkey. 13 hasn't changed anything. Netherlands. So you literally have to go through every league like that. 15. I'll leave that one in. Australia, A-League. No change. Okay, we'll stick that. Bosnia. Oh, it's got lower now. Thank you, Bosnia. Ukraine. Oh, no, that's gone worse. Drop that one out. But like this, you keep on going down. You keep on going down for all these profitable leagues and see if they can be added so that they give you more profit, but without changing this maximum drawdown, trying to keep it to the level you're aiming for, which could be -10 or -15 or -20. You pick a level you're happy with, and you add leagues based on if they will not affect the volatility. And so we seem to have a healthy strategy there with 13 picks a month, 22% yield. Yeah, that would be one way of maybe updating things. There's another user, he swears by that method. He thinks that's really good, and he says he's having good results with that. It's a bit time consuming, and he updates it every month. He redoes that every month, has a look if he can add in or drop out some leagues. So there we see 8 different ways we could select leagues. So the question is, which one is right? And the answer is, I don't know, which is why my next step is I'm going to do a big review where I am going to go through all of my 34 strategies, and I'm going to review them and see which league method gave the best results. So I'm going to take the 12 years of historical data and split it into 2 parts, 10 years of research period data and 2.5 years of test period data. And then, like I've already done one strategy here, so I'm going to see what results does it have when I filter the leagues by original leagues, all leagues, negative exclusion, positive inclusion, 1%, 5%, 10% yields, and MDE methods, 8 methods. So I'll test it all in its research period, and then in the last 2.5 years. And at the end, I'm going to total up the profit for each of the different methods and see which selection method comes up with the best results, with the best profit. And I will declare that the winner and the best way to update your strategies. And I'm going to do that for 34 strategies. It's going to take me ages, but I just wanted to put this video out now to say, don't panic. If you've had a loss, review your plan. Did it reach its exit point? And why, if it did, was that because of something unexpected, or was that part of the plan? And if it has reached its exit point, if it's bankrupt or if it's near there, then review your strategies. Have a look if there's anything you want to change for the next cycle. Check the bet numbers, check the odds, check the recent results, and maybe think about updating your strategies, adding in some, taking out some, maybe changing your staking plan if it was too volatile for you. And yeah, this maximum drawdown method is quite interesting. At the moment, I lean towards negative exclusion and all leagues. Those are the two methods I think logically work the best, but I have become more interested in the maximum drawdown method. But as I say, I'm going to do a big review and find out which wins out of these 34 strategies I'm following now, and I'll let you know. And I'll let you know what the results of that review is. So if it was a tough weekend, review and update your strategies, look at your plan again, and see what you might change for next time. And when I have the results of my league filter review, I'll let you know. Thanks for watching. Interested in big data betting? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. And check out BetterMinic's big data betting research database that has historical odds and football statistics. If you're looking for betting system recommendations, then come to my website, bettingsystemsguide.com, where you can get both manual and automated betting bot systems. You can read more about betting systems in my books, find verified winning tipsters at tippingsports.com, and automate your betting with the BF Bot Manager software. Visit my website for more information. Thanks for watching.